you all for tuning in tonight, and welcome to our second activism training, where we'll be talking about recruiting and marketing. More specifically, this training will cover SFL's recruitment pipeline, best practices for recruiting people to participate, the relationship between recruiting and marketing, and ultimately how to build hype. We'll talk about tabling a little bit and social media promotion as well. But we'll talk about tabling next, the next training, which will be on September 1st. This is the in-person communication training. This will be done in conjunction with all of the other training tracks. So you'll definitely want to tune into that. And that will touch more on like tabling and public speaking and things of that nature. So I won't go into too much depth on that tonight, but we'll talk best practices. Okay, cool. So to reiterate from last week, these are all the skills you'll be working on cultivating throughout this training track. Last week, we talked about project management. So we talked obviously about project management, on-campus event planning and leadership. And then this week, we will focus on volunteer recruitment and effective communication. Okay, so when we're talking about recruiting and marketing, we're focusing on enrolling an individual as a supporter of a cause. In this case, the cause is liberty. Marketing is the action of promoting and selling products and services. So our products and services are our groups and our meetings, our programs, our events, things like that. So essentially, we're marketing our various programs and events as ways to recruit people, ultimately to advance the ideas of liberty. So this is SFL's recruitment pipeline. It's important to familiarize yourself with this in order to get a better understanding of how to recruit effectively. As you can see, our end goal is to recruit more quality campus coordinators like you guys. So in order to do that, we believe an individual needs to go through these various steps. For most, that will be identified while tabling. This is why participating in activism is so important. Every person that stops to talk to you guys has potential to be a really great campus coordinator in the future, but it's ultimately up to you guys to generate commitment and cultivate that individual first. After you recruit that individual while tabling, you'll want to follow up with them and make sure they attend the next meeting or event. This next step is essential because it ultimately demonstrates to the individual that there's a community of people that are passionate about these ideas out there. So then after that individual is connected to your group, the next step is to bring them with you to the regional conference. So this step demonstrates to them that there are a lot of people who are passionate about these ideas, not just on their campus, but throughout the state and the region. So this will ultimately deepen their sense of community. The next step then is to get that individual to the International Students for Liberty Conference in February in Washington, D.C. This will show them that there are people all over the world that are passionate about these ideas. And how these people are using these ideas to advance our societies into one that is freer. So after the individual has completed all of these steps, we believe that then they are in a prime position to apply for the campus coordinator program. Of course, this is not a one-size-fits-all pipeline. We find individuals through a variety of ways, and many become campus coordinators at different stages. Each individual is different, but this is kind of just a general idea. It's an ideal way to introduce an individual to the ideas of liberty and get them cultivated into a quality leader. Okay, great. So whether you are recruiting or marketing, you always need to know your audience if you want to be effective. Think about what's going to resonate most with the people you are trying to get on board. Perhaps your campus is pretty liberal, so maybe advocating to end the drug war will be a big hit. It usually is. Maybe your campus is more on the conservative side, so advocating for ending the national debt is going to attract more people. No matter what kind of activism you do or what campus you're on, you're always going to find people that agree and disagree with you, so keep that in mind. If you find someone that does disagree with you, I think it's important to invite them to the next meeting anyways and give them the opportunity to engage in a meaningful discussion and present their point of view. There are plenty of issues that are nonpartisan as well that will receive widespread support, so things like free speech. Again, you're going to get pushback on essentially anything you do, just like you'll get support for anything you do. So just handle that with grace and with tact. Here are some cool pictures. On the left-hand side, we see a free speech wall. Obviously, free speech is very effective. On the right-hand side, this is criminals for gun-free zones. So this is cool for advocating for criminal justice reform as well as Second Amendment stuff. Okay, great. So it's also important to know that you should be promoting liberty generally. You don't always have to do a specific issue-focused event. Sometimes it's nice to have a more general message. The image on the left was used on a poster by an SFL group previously. It's just a catchy way to get students' attention. Obviously, memes go a long way. I love memes and GIFs. So, the image on the right includes a poster with a picture of Obama saying, "I've said a lot of things. They've just all turned out to be wrong." And below that is a picture of Ron Paul. It says, "Ron Paul was right. Join today." So again, it's just kind of general. Obviously, Ron Paul is a big identifier for people, so it's always cool to throw his picture on things. It's also important to note the difference between advocating for a candidate and just, having their face on a poster. If this said vote Ron Paul, we can't do that since we're a C3, so we need to abide by that law. However, this doesn't say, vote Ron Paul, so it's fine. If you guys have questions about that, definitely let me know, because it's important to know the difference and what you can do and what you can't do, especially if any of you are participating in like the Youth for Johnson Weld chapters or things like that. Okay, and then definitely use current events to your advantage. Obviously, the presidential election is a huge topic this fall, so here are a few ways you can play off of it. On the left, this is a picture of a condom with a sticker on it that says, "Either way, you're screwed." On the back of that condom is another sticker with information for the next meeting or event. Obviously, this is going to take a little bit of effort to prepare, but it's totally worth it. I did this with my chapter in college, and it was a huge hit. These are definitely the first things to go. I think something important to note, though, is in order to get the best bang for your buck, no pun intended, I think you should definitely incentivize people to take these by signing up. So essentially use it as an incentive. Allow somebody to take one if they sign their name on your sheet. Okay, cool. And then on the right is a photo of a character named Donald Tramp. Donald went around campus making ludicrous comments and promoting sophomoric values. Also, side note, he is wearing shorts. You can't tell, but I guess he definitely is, so that's good. But just kind of playing off of events to generate excitement and engage students is always a great way to go for effective recruitment. You can also play off of holidays like Halloween. I've seen several of you guys in your activism plans are doing like Halloween or a Civil Liberties Graveyard. I've also seen people do like zombie founding fathers, and then they do their activism in costumes. That's always fun. You can get really creative with it, and I encourage you guys to do so. Okay, so when thinking about recruiting for your regional conference or the regional conference nearest you, the best way to ensure commitment from others is to pull up the registration webpage at the beginning and the end of your meeting and have people register. This is effective because they will see that others they know are going, so they know they're not just going to be going alone. And also you'll have the link pulled up and ready for them to go. So all they need to do is fill out their information and hit submit. It's literally going to take less than a minute. Again, it's just really important to kind of nudge them to do it. And it's great to do it at the meeting because it's yes, we're all going as a group. You guys can figure out carpooling and things of that nature. So that's really important. And then how to build hype. So using flyers is a really great way to build hype for upcoming events. They're great to hand out while doing activism on campus. You can also post them on bulletin boards. I mean, just quick note, posting them on bulletin boards is not an active way to recruit people. You might get one or two people that randomly read the bulletin board and think it's cool, but it's, you're not going to get a bunch of people. So don't use that as your primary way of recruitment, but still do it anyways. It's worth a shot. Also make sure you include all the necessary information for the event on your flyer. So things like the title of the event, the date, the time, the location, all those good things. Also include contact information in case people have questions. Here you can see a few examples of flyers. The right-hand side is probably my favorite. Good old Obama on there. This actually sparked a free speech case, so that was fun. And he actually won his case and got rid of his free speech zones and the bureaucratic posting policies. So quick fun fact for you there. And obviously social media is a huge way to build hype. It's essential these days for recruiting, and it can be extremely effective when it's used correctly. Facebook is the primary social media platform that we operate on, but we also use Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. But I mean, like 99% of our people that we find is through Facebook. So I think that's probably the most effective tool that we have. You can use social media to display the activism you're doing on campus. It's a really great and easy way to show the network what you've been up to and to generate interest in your group from their students that go to your school. It's also really cool to use SFL hashtags to demonstrate a sense of community. This example here is the chapter I was a part of when I was in college, but just being able to post your activism photos and stuff I think is really cool and really important. And then we'll be able to find them and put them out to the rest of our international network. So it's a great way to get exposure. You can also post on your individual page to promote upcoming events. So like changing your profile picture, your cover photo, sharing SFL's posts from their site or their Facebook, writing your own posts, things like that. You can also create more specific groups to strengthen the sense of community and build a culture, or make promotional posts in already existing groups. So here you have like the campus coordinator page that you guys are all a part of. So there, we can kind of all discuss things that we want to talk about, let you guys know of, new events or new things that are going on, and have you guys post whatever you want to in there as well. It's really effective for sharing information, as most of our generation actively uses Facebook. And then also when promoting events, make sure you're including the links to the registration page. So you can see over here on the left-hand side, it includes, sflrcs.org. I know it's on the banner or the photo or whatever you want to call it, but it's important to just easily have a link to it. So they just have to click the button. It's also valuable to look at an event page and cross-reference the going and maybe lists with your actual registration list to find the people that still need to register. And then send them a personal message asking if they have registered, and obviously put that link in there to the registration page. I know we talked about project management last week. Specifically, we talked about Google Sheets and how those can be really helpful. This would be a perfect example of how you can utilize Google Sheets. You can put all of the names of people into a Google Sheet and then delegate reaching out to them to the rest of your members, and help make sure that they get registered for the regional conference. So use different marketing techniques to help recruit for Liberty. Keep SFL's recruitment pipeline in mind as you guys go out and identify and cultivate the next group of leaders. Think through various ways you can effectively recruit people while on campus. Don't be afraid to get creative. And also consider how you can utilize social media to strengthen your Liberty community and ultimately promote your successes. So just a few assignment reminders. If you haven't submitted your activism strategic plan yet, please do so as soon as possible. I know I've spoken to some of you, so that's fantastic, all squared away. But if you haven't submitted your plan yet and you haven't reached out to me with a reason why, you please do it as soon as possible. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you guys don't get it submitted, I'm going to start calling you guys and annoying you further. So let's just avoid that for both of our sake. The assignment for next week has changed slightly from the syllabus. So what you're actually going to be doing is you're going to be registering yourself for the regional conference closest to you, and also send me your recruitment plan for that regional conference by August 29th. So your recruitment plan should include things like the number of people you plan on recruiting to attend that RC, and how you plan on recruiting them. So, sorry about that. And so ultimately, I'll send out an email with a reminder with a link to this recording tomorrow. So look out for that. And then also a quick reminder for our next training is going to be on Thursday, September 1st at 8 p.m. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning, but this is the in-person communication training in conjunction with all of the other training tracks. So let's make sure we have a good showing from the activism training track. And that is it from me. So thank you everyone for listening. If you guys have questions, I will happily answer those now. I'm going to stop recording.